Good morning, everyone. We're going to give a couple minutes for everyone to sign on and join today, and then we are going to get started. All right, we'll give it one more minute just for everyone to jump in before we get started. All right. Good morning, everyone, and welcome to SC Days, Information, Technology, and Cybersecurity. It is hosted today by SC Future Makers and powered by Tallo. My name is Paige Ramstack, and I am your host for today's event. I have the pleasure of working at Tallo as our workforce account manager, and today I will be leading us through the exciting and informative sessions. We appreciate the educators, students, and the classrooms joining statewide and learning about opportunities in South Carolina. We're going to kick things off today with a little bit of a technology spiel. And we're going to be going in a few minutes, and I'm going to drop a little bit of webinar knowledge on you. So one item of note is that you will not have access to audio and video today. Your microphones will be turned off. So if you wave or say something and you don't get a wave back, it's just because we can't see or hear you. So please don't take offense, but we're really excited that you are here. Every session will end in a live Q&A with our session hosts and panelists. So please submit any questions you have to the Q&A feature, and we'll try to get as many as we can at the end of each session. Before we get started, I wanted to extend a special thank you to SC Future Makers, the South Carolina Department of Commerce, and the South Carolina Department of Competitiveness for making this event possible today. Now, it's about time to take a quick break before we jump in at our first session, which is going to be starting at 9:15 today and is going to be with Fusion Cyber. We want you to take this time to grab some morning coffee, a snack, something to drink, and then we are going to be kicking things off right at 9:15. If you have any questions already that you've been thinking of, you can go ahead and put those in the Q&A, and we're going to be doing those at the end of the Fusion Cyber session. We'll be back in just a moment. All right, everyone. I hope you are ready to get started with our very first session of the day. We have joining us today, Christopher from Fusion Cyber. Remember that as we go along, if you have any questions, please put them in the Q&A session, and we will try to get to as many of those questions at the end. Good morning and welcome, Christopher.
Thank you, Paige. Good morning, everyone.
All right, we will let you take it away.
Excellent. Thank you. So I will share my screen here. Well, thank you, everyone. Fusion Cyber is a company that we run in conjunction with Denmark Technical College. And the problem that we're trying to solve is the gap in creating new cybersecurity workers. There's 755,000 cyber openings in the United States. Around 150,000 of those require a clearance. It's also 73% white male dominated and 22% female. And the growth in unfilled cyber jobs has been 350% from 2013 to 2021. So we're solving that cyber talent gap with a single pane of glass solution. We do everything from the recruiting and advertising. We have the instructors that teach the curriculum. By the way, it's 100% virtual. We also provide the cyber range, which is 100% virtual range to do your lab exercises, and you don't need a high-end PC or laptop to do it. You can access it through your browser. And while we do not guarantee a job, we do have 40 weeks of career advice and career management to help you get that mentorship in that first cyber job. It's a team with a lot of experience, from Blackboard to the CIA to Motorola to Amazon technical recruiters to Army veterans. And we expect that the cyber marketplace, the need for cyber talent is going to continue to grow over the next 10 years. As you go through our program, we do have 2,500% scholarships for the July cohort. And I'll have a link at the end of the slides where you can go to apply for that and learn more about the program. The program we're talking about here is the Cyber Risk Management Framework, the left-hand side of my screen. And depending if you have that IT background or not, as you go through the program, it's designed for career switchers and working adults. It's typically 2 hours, one night a week via WebEx. And you'll go through 5 courses over the 10 months total. And you'll also sit and take up to 3 of these certification exams. And in the cybersecurity industry, the exams actually are very important, those industry certifications, on what type of jobs you can get and the salary ranges for those jobs. If you're just starting off, the Security Plus is probably the first one that you want to get. And then if you're sort of coming to IT or just getting into IT, then CISA and eventually CISSP. If you have that IT background, then you may want to take the Certified Ethical Hacker. And the 2,500% scholarships also provide the study guides, sitting for up to 3 of these exams, so those vouchers to take these exams. We've been doing some cool stuff with Denmark Technical College. We actually donated that 35-person bus that you see there last year. We gave away 50 scholarships last year, and we expect to do similar or more this year. Of those that we gave away, 28% were female, 81% minority, 17% veteran, 12% law enforcement. We've only had 1 dropout that kind of said cyber is not for me. And we can say out of the 50, we've got 5 new cyber jobs that are in process. It's a group from all across the Eastern Coast. It wasn't just South Carolina. This was the July cohort, the meet and greet, and then also the October meet and greet. The scholarships are actually given out by a nonprofit called the Capital Business Development Association. They represent 2,000 small, medium, and large GovCon, IT, and cyber businesses. And the scholarship board of advisors is 7 CEOs of IT and cyber companies. So they've done this work. They know what it's about. To apply for the scholarship, you would go to this link at the bottom here. And I can actually put this in chat. That'll probably be helpful for you all. It requires a 1 to 2 page letter, a 60 to 90-second video. But this survey form, this bottom link, is the first thing you'll fill out. And that's actually a cyber career survey. So that's how we get to know you, understand your exposure to technology, what you're looking to get into, provide an overview of some of the job titles and what those are around. And so you'd fill out the cyber survey, you'd do a Zoom career consultation with us, and then you'd submit that letter and that video, and then you'd be evaluated by the scholarship committee. And don't worry if you don't get one of the 2,500% scholarships. We do have some very economical monthly payment options so that you could take it that way as well. And again, our impact, we're looking to solve that cyber talent gap and get more folks into cybersecurity, into well-paying jobs, and having a great career. So with that, if there are any questions, I'd be happy to answer any of those.
Sure. Everyone, if you have any questions, please put them in the Q&A. Christopher, I had a question just about cybersecurity as a industry as a whole. So I know you said that there is a lot of availability in the career now, right? And there's a lot of jobs that are currently not filled. Do you see that this is a field that is going to continue to grow and continue to have more opportunities?
Absolutely. We've seen pre-pandemic, there were about 800,000 folks in the United States employed in cybersecurity. Post-pandemic, it's gone up to 1.1 million, but we still have 750,000 openings. And part of that is, as we transition through that pandemic, every industry that you can think of went online and is connected with technology. We've seen the massive amount of hacks, from Colonial Pipeline to SolarWinds to this ransomware or that ransomware. And so everyone needs to secure their business and our way of life, so to speak. The White House just last week released their cybersecurity strategy and their workforce development strategy, because this is a major area of need for the government, especially for the labs like Savannah River right there. And part of that strategy has actually shifted the liability of cybersecurity from a nice to have to software companies and businesses are now responsible for cybersecurity, and they're going to need talent and people like we generate from our program to secure themselves.
Yeah, definitely. So we had a question come in asking if you can discuss the salary for working in the industry, or the average salary. I think you did have a slide about that. If you can share.
So the salaries start around $55,000 and up. If you get the CISSP, you can get a provisional if you don't have the full 5 years of IT experience. On average, that's around $132K a year. But if you choose to work for, say, the DoD or the government, and you get that security clearance, which is important, especially for veterans that have had a clearance, you can double those salaries in some cases as well. A lot of these jobs, unless you have to be in a SCIF because you're working for the DoD, a secure facility, a lot of these cyber jobs can also be done remote. So you can stay where you are in South Carolina and get a well-paying job.
Great. We are going to see. Another question for you is, what would I know there's many different kind of careers and opportunities that you're highlighting here in cybersecurity. But if you were to tell someone what could they expect into a day-to-day job or what they would be doing long term, what that would look like as a career, could you share some information about that?
Yeah, I'd kind of put it in three buckets. So folks that are working in a security operations center, a lot of what your work is doing is triaging tickets and events and alerts and things like that. And then you start at level one, then go to level two, the level three, or be a manager. And so what you're really doing is you're dealing with this massive amount of information. The second type of job I would say is akin to being like a technical project manager. So we have these standards that NIST, the U.S. government puts out for cybersecurity. You have to do assessments, you have to do audits, you have to document things, you have to fill out paperwork. Um, very much akin to what a technical project manager does. And then the third area I would say is being like a CISO, a Chief Information Security Officer. For most corporations now, the CISO also sits at the board level. There's a cybersecurity uh, committee on the board because it's that important. And the CISO is really charged with the strategy and the remediation of threats and vulnerabilities and things like that. So, not only is it a great industry to be in, but there's a lot of growth. The other two areas of cyber that you can explore too is cyber defense. So blue teams. So how are you defending attackers trying to get into the network? And then the red team, cyber offense. How are you, getting those attackers out, remediating, or working for, the army or cybercom and dealing with threats and nation states throughout the world that may be attacking the United States.
Great. We had another question come in. So I know you guys are working on this program with Denmark Tech. They also asked what college majors or courses could students take to prepare them for entering into a program like this or even college when that's necessary?
Yes, so this is a non-credit program. You get the three industry certifications after you pass the exams. You also get a certification from Denmark powered by Fusion Cyber for the RMF. We are also working with Denmark to launch this spring an associate's program. It's the same curriculum, but you could get that associate's degree in cybersecurity. We do require a GED or a high school diploma. And if you're not coming from an IT background, then we have a 30-day prep course, which is sort of introduction to computer science, networking, operating systems, really getting to understand the terminology and sort of the baseline of technology so that then you can start to study cybersecurity on top of that. So, we have a great enrollment team. We've got a number of folks on there that are knowledgeable about this. And, really they can work with you to understand where you want to go. And then once you become a student, our director of career and placement, Kelly Peck, who's a former Amazon technical recruiter, was the global head of HR for Music Tribe before that. She works as sort of a recruiter in reverse. So how are you updating your LinkedIn? How are you updating your resume? What cyber groups, clubs, Discord channels are you going to? What's your strategy to get that mentorship? And we've placed 5 students in mentorships with various organizations so far this year. And we think that's a big part of this. So it's a part apprenticeship program. Again, we don't guarantee a job. We cannot guarantee a job. I just have to say that every time. But we do work to get you into that job. That's the ultimate goal.
That's great. And what is something that you would recommend, some of our younger audience, high school students, do right now to maybe prepare for a program like this or a career like this? Is there anything they can start doing right now?
Yeah, definitely. So check with your either your computer science instructors in high school, your CTE directors, and see if there's a Cyber Patriots Club at your school, which is a nonprofit. They run these clubs across thousands of high schools, and it's an introduction to cybersecurity. There's capture the flag type of events, hack events, and things like that. And it's a great way to to start dipping your toe in the water and learning more about it. I think they even have some of the Cyber Patriot clubs that are virtual. So if your school's not big enough or doesn't have a club yet, that's also something that you can participate in.
Great.
And
And, what is something that, you're really excited about in cybersecurity in the future? What is your favorite part about working in this industry and helping, progress cybersecurity?
yeah, sure. So my background is a master's in computer science. I was part of the founding team at Blackboard, the big e-learning giant. Have been building technology companies for the better part of 20 years. And we've always been securing technology over all the companies I've built. But I would say if cybersecurity was a baseball game, it would still be the first inning, the first up at bat. It's still a very, very new industry. And because everyone is hyper connected now in the cloud and everything, there's still a lot of vulnerabilities and new products that have to be created and new jobs that will be created. And so having the cybersecurity RMF, which is like the baseline, and then focusing on a vertical, whether it be healthcare or the government, and then starting to think about artificial intelligence and machine learning as it relates to doing those cyber jobs or protecting that technology are a couple of the really cool things that are happening now and are only going to accelerate over the next decades.
That's great. All right. And I think, the last question I'm going to ask today to wrap things up is there any last advice or anything that you would like to share today as next steps? I know we talked about, and I put in the chat that link that you did too, for students to do right now if they are interested in either preparing for this or taking the next step to look into attending.
Yeah, no, I think that's the next step. That cyber career survey, it takes about 3 to 5 minutes. Even if you don't join our program, I think it's a good way to kind of start to think about what a cyber career is and gather your thoughts and gather your questions. And we'd be happy to discuss those questions with you and help plan that career.
Great. Well, thank you so much for joining today, Christopher. Again, everyone, I threw that link in the chat for everyone to be able to access that. So please go ahead and save that link if you're interested in taking that next step and taking that survey with Fusion Cyber. Thank you so much, Chris, for joining today. And we are going to take a quick break. And then we will be back at 9:40 with Google today. Thanks so much for joining, Christopher.
Bye, Paige. Thank you.
All right, we are back for our second session of the day. Our second session is going to be with Google today, and joining us we have is Amber, and she is the head of the Economic and Community Development for Google Data Centers in Eastern US and Canada. Good morning, Amber. Thank you so much for joining us today.
Good morning. Thank you for having me.
All right, we're going to let you take it away.
All right, cool. I was going to say, let me start to share my screen. I have a little presentation. Oh, of course it's not working. Hold on a second.
Remember, everyone, as you have questions during Amber's presentation, you can put those in the Q&A and we will go through those at the end today.
All right. Can you guys see this?
Yes, we can.
Okay, cool. All right. Hey, everybody. My name's Amber. I am the head of community development for Google's data centers in the Eastern US. And I'm excited today to talk to you guys a little bit about Google and our data centers and what they do. But first, we're going to have a quick history lesson. So believe it or not, not that long ago, we didn't have the internet in the palm of our hands like we do now with our smartphones. Sorry, can you still see this? Something weird happened.
Yes, we can.
Okay, cool. So back in the 1960s, before the internet, there was a thing called ARPANET. And it was a project funded by the government that linked computers at Pentagon-funded research centers across phone lines to share information. So not everybody could access this new technology, just the government. Over the next several decades, a series of innovations and inventions took place. So in the 1970s, experts like Vint Cerf, who is now known as the grandfather of the internet, and he's actually a current Google legend. He is our chief internet evangelist is what they call him. But he and others created a protocol for linking multiple networks and allowing the transfer of data over networks. In the 80s, there's another advancement that creates LANs or local area networks. And researchers also develop an inexpensive network over dial-up phone lines. So in the 80s, PhoneNet is a new system that's created and it's connected to ARPANET to become the first commercial network that other people outside of the government can use. In the 90s, ARPANET comes down, the development of coding languages like HTML and URLs eventually lead to the launch of the World Wide Web, which we all know today. And then in 1995, Microsoft launches Windows, Amazon, Yahoo, eBay, all companies that I would think you probably know of, all launch. And then Java, a coding language, is created, which allows for the animation and creation of websites to come together. And that creates a new flurry of internet activity. And in 1998, Google is born. So the early 2000s bring the height of the dot-com era. Internet-based businesses start to become present in everybody's life day to day, and Wi-Fi and smartphones become mainstream. But the biggest and most historical milestone of all happened in 2005 when this video was posted. And this was the first cat video that had hit the internet and ultimately launched the cat kingdom that is the internet today. All right, try and move on. So today there are lots of products and services powered by Google, more than just cat videos on YouTube, but I think you probably know a lot of these. You know, Google Search, Google Photos, YouTube, Google Docs, Chat, and all of these products and services run through Google's data centers. Oh, here's a few words. So sorry, what do data centers do? For one thing, they power Google Search. Everything that you search online is processed through a Google data center. And our data centers process millions of searches a minute. Every single minute, people are searching for things like, how do I cook a baked potato, or how do I get from here to there on Google Maps? So there are trillions and trillions of searches per year. But our data centers, so just to start from the top, like, but what are they? Data centers, like the one we have here in South Carolina, are the technical infrastructure that power the cloud. So the cloud isn't really in the sky, it's in a data center on the ground, which is a big, big building that has lots of servers and network and technologies. And it is the platform and the backbone of the internet that brings Google's apps and services to billions of people around the world every single day. This is a video that's called a look inside a data center, and I'm going to skip it because it's kind of long, but I think that this presentation will be circulated later and y'all can watch it on your own time.
A data center is the brains of the.
Okay, so now I have a bit of trivia, and I know you can't probably participate, but you can think in your heads. How many connected devices does the average US household have? Thinking phones, smart tablets, maybe your light bulbs are smart and connected. And the answer is 20. So, you know, your thermostats, your doorbell, every single thing that you have that connects to the internet would be called a smart device. And all of those apps and devices need a way to get online, and that is through a data center. So all the videos you watch on YouTube, all of the emails you send on Gmail, they all travel through a data center. And all of that data, of course, in this place to live, we have to make it extra secure. So there's security measures in place to keep all of the messages and the photos and text private. And then also there's a ton of redundancy built in and backups and virus scanning to protect all of the data that lives on the servers. So while, you know, if you live close to Google's data center in South Carolina, it doesn't necessarily mean that your data is only flowing through that data center. It will have redundancy built in through other data centers so that if, heaven forbid, something happened or one of the data centers went down, no information would ever be lost. So data centers are pretty rare. We have 23 data centers in the planet, and they handle 25% of all North American internet traffic. Our data, so we're kind of lucky to have one in South Carolina if you think about how rare they actually are. And they run 24/7 because the internet never sleeps, so neither do we. And our security measures are in place 24/7, and we have staff manning our facilities and working on servers and making sure that everything is up and running around the clock. So it can be hard to convey the scale of a data center. They are actually very amazing facilities. They're incredibly energy efficient. And this is actually our South Carolina data center, but it's from a few years ago, so it looks a little bit different now. But this is about the size of 150 football fields. So if you were to take one stadium, it would fit in one of these little buildings down here. In a portion of one of the buildings down there, I guess I should say. If all servers within a data center were stacked vertically, the stack would stand higher than Mount Everest. So there's just a ton of technology, a ton of servers in these buildings, and the amount of information and data that they process every single hour is very impressive. This data center covers about 200 acres, and it's about a 1.5 mile hike around all of the buildings. So you can really get your steps in on a good day if you're up for it. In Berkeley County, we started our data center in 2006. It was one of our earliest facilities, and that was with an initial investment of $600 million. We've had several expansions over the years, and now our data center in Berkeley County represents an investment of over $2.9 billion in our infrastructure in South Carolina. So it's been a great place for us to call home over the years. And in addition to that investment in the actual infrastructure, we've been excited to partner with the community to power or to support projects and investments with the school districts and other partner organizations, chambers of commerce, children's and science museums, that kind of stuff around the Low Country. So with all of this, with all of this information and technology inside, and all of the servers, we really got to keep these places secure. So we have what we call 6 layers of security or defense in depth. That goes from property and physical security around our buildings. They're incredibly hard to get into. There are, thermal scans and fingerprint scans and retina scans so that you can't get in unless you're an actual authorized person. And in fact, there's some statistic, I think it's less than 1% of Google employees have actually been inside a Google data center. So we do our best to keep these facilities incredibly secure, keep the traffic, the people in there are only business critical, mission critical people that are there to work on the facilities and on the servers. And that is all to keep everybody's user data safe and to make sure that everybody's information stays private and that no damages or leaks or hacks or anything can happen. All right, we've talked a little bit about data centers. Let's talk about the careers and the types of people that work in our data centers and help us all stay connected. So we provide opportunities for everybody, whether it's mechanical or HVAC, renewable energy experts, technical facilities managers, people like me who do community development or program managers. There's a variety of jobs, and Google data centers are home to a wide array of different career backgrounds. Across the company, not just at our data centers, but in total, we are committed to making sure that everybody is treated fairly. And on our data center teams, from construction to operations, these are all long-term, well-paid opportunities. The average construction of a data center is about 24 months. And so these are long-term construction projects and that's just one building. There's generally multiple buildings. So these are, over multiple years. And then even after the data centers are built, there's always retrofits or updates and upgrades to make sure that we are continuing to keep the buildings efficient and operating at their max potential. So there's always ongoing projects happening as well. So in order to build a data center, first you have to design it. So these are a few of the types of jobs that we have. We have all of these people who are project managers, architects, designers, permit specialists to help us get all of the plans ready so that when it's time to construct the data center, we're good to go. When it comes to construction, I know you guys know a lot of probably about what construction jobs are, but again, project managers, HVAC technicians, network engineers, electricians. We can't find enough electricians in the state. So if you want a great secure job, go become an electrician. And then once the data centers are fully built, operations. So these are the people who make sure that the inside of the building, from the health of the building, is actually good and maintained. So those would be facilities technicians or mechanics, and then server operations are the people who make sure that the servers are running optimally, that they do swaps if there's any damages to the servers, again, so that everyone can get their information, get those Google searches done quickly, and that all of the apps and services are up and running 24/7. According to a 2017 study, a typical data center employs more than 1,600 people for build out. So that's a ton of people every single day, working day in, day out to help build data centers around the country. And this generates more than $75 million in construction wages. And I mentioned operations earlier, so I want to dig in a bit on this one. At our data center in South Carolina, we have over 750 people working to support the facility. And this includes computer technicians, engineers. I mentioned they're 24/7 facilities, so security, food services, maintenance, project managers, and lots of different roles happening to support all of the functions within the data center. 750 jobs is actually a lot for a data center. South Carolina is one of our bigger facilities, and the average data center outside of Google, but just generally within the US, it's actually about 250 jobs. So operations are, what keep the server and facility up and running. We're going to meet a few people who work at the data center. So this is Adam. He's a data center controls technician. He installs and maintains data servers and network equipment and monitors the day-to-day performance, making sure that the servers are optimally controlled for an optimally controlled environment for the servers, and he troubleshoots network and server problems. So with lots of servers in a room, the servers can get very hot and overheated. So we try to make sure that the buildings are maintained at optimal heat so that everything functions properly and efficiently without overheating and causing shutdowns. Meet Tolu. He's a data center facilities technician, and he monitors and supports our physical facilities and conditions, including the heating and cooling of air and water, power supply, generators, UPS systems, electrical distributions, and control and monitoring systems. So all of these are very specific functions, and we'll have a team of people that help work and specialize, what we would call a subject matter expert in some of these areas as well. And then Tyler, so site water treatment lead. It's a member of the mechanical team with a focus on facility cooling and infrastructure and site water treatment. We sometimes use water to cool our facilities and keep those servers at an optimal temperature. And so in some cases, we actually have water treatment sites on the premises so that we can create closed loop systems that we don't have to use as much water to keep a climate conscious cooling effort for our servers. We're going to do another trivia question. Do you have to have a 4-year degree, college degree to work at a Google data center? True or false? You can think to yourself, but the answer is false. You do not. We actually have many roles for people with associate's degrees, high school and beyond, and of course through master's degrees, PhDs too. But what we like to say is we are always looking for engaged, dedicated, hardworking people who have an interest. And so our message is that you don't have to have a 4-year degree to work in a data center, but you do have to stay in, get whatever specialty or associate's degree and be dedicated to working hard and having a good attitude through all of that. Here are a few resources of ways to get involved at Google, whether you're starting to think about your future career or you want to learn something new. These are probably for more of the high school or soon to be graduates, but these are a lot of great a lot of great tools that you guys should use as a resource. The Build Your Future site has a ton of information on available roles and programs and events and resources for students. The Technical Development Tech Dev Guide is an excellent resource for interview prep and resume prep. It has skill development tools as well. Also linked previously in one of these slides, but it's not on this, there's an Explore Data Center Careers. So it's through Google for Education. There's a few modules about what types of jobs happen in a data center, what kind of skills you need. And that's a very cool tool as well, specifically focused on data centers. But Google more generally, there's coding competitions and computer science focused internships. And then of course, we have some scholarships to support continued computer science education efforts as well. So if you want to work with us, if you are one of those graduating students or soon to be graduates, you can always check us out on our careers page, and then on careersonair.withgoogle.com is where you can watch live events such as resume workshops and how to begin your technical career and other great resources. So I think this is getting circulated, but you can always just Google, you can Google search Careers on Air with Google and it'll come up. Lastly, if you're intrigued, you want to know more about data centers, we've developed a great podcast called Where the Internet Lives. And our new series or a new season is actually about to debut later this month. But this takes a deep dive into what makes the internet work and some of the people that work there. And then this new season that's about to launch, we're going to dive into some of the community partnerships and other benefits that have come from having, within a Google community, so a Google data center community. So check that out. And then I think we might still have a few minutes for Q&A. So I will turn it back over to Paige.
Thank you so much, Amber. Anyone, if you have any questions for Amber, please put them in the Q&A now. And I know I have a couple questions. So firstly, wanted to ask what you would advise that high school students do right now who might be interested in going into a career at one of the data centers or working for Google.
Sure. I would check out the Data Center Career Explorer that I mentioned. Take a look at that, see what interests you. And then if you always have a resume ready and outline your skills. If you don't have any work history, that's okay. Just put what your skills are, put what you're great at on a resume, and then check out our careers page. I actually, just career advice generally, I think networking and leveraging people that always open to conversations about what it's like to work at a Google data center, and just express your interest would be my best first step advice.
Great. How, and I want to know, what is your favorite part about working, one, for Google, and two, working in the world of data centers?
Working for Google, I have worked at Google for a long time, and I think that my favorite part is, of course, the people. Everybody has such a unique story, so I like to say, like, every single person you meet is like an onion. Like you peel back one layer, and you're like, oh, okay, so this is their background. But then there's just seems to everyone has like a great, interesting story. No one has the same pathway into tech and into the data centers. And I just think it's fascinating to hear all the different backgrounds that bring people together under this company. And then working at data centers specifically, data centers are a relatively new industry. And I think that it's been very exciting to see the industry grow and to see the reliance on data centers as we do become a more digital world. Google Cloud is a consumer facing product that other businesses get to, they host their information and their business on Google, which also runs through our data center. So it's not just about Google's apps and services anymore. It's about supporting these small businesses and supporting school districts and others who are also using and relying on the data centers to reach their customers, their student base, and others.
That's great. Well, thank you so much, Amber, for joining today. And I know I learned so much. I had no idea data centers were so big. I feel like when you think about all of these things being on a cloud, you really do think about it being, a much smaller space. But that's amazing how large it is and that it's in South Carolina, our home state. So thank you so much for telling us about those career options in South Carolina. And we're going to take a quick break, and we will be back with our next session at 10:05. And thank you so much again, Amber.
Thanks.
Hey, Paige. Can't hear you.
Oh, still muted. Sorry. Hi, Josh. Thank you so much for joining today.
Absolutely. Sorry for I had a little issues getting the Zoom to connect.
Oh, no problem. All right. Well, everyone, we are going to get started with our next session today. We have Winthrop University joining, and we have Josh, who is the director of esports, joining to tell us a little bit about their program. So thanks so much again, Josh, and I'm going to let you take it away.
Thank you. Good morning, everybody. I don't know how much you guys know about esports and you know, especially about how it exists at the collegiate level. So I'm here to kind of give you guys a little intro on esports. So for us, we're Winthrop University. We started our program in 2019. We were, you know, one of the early adopters of collegiate esports, getting into the scene when there were less than 100 schools out there that scholarshiped collegiate esports. Now that number has grown to well over 400 schools out there that offer scholarships. So what does that mean for high school students who are coming up and you know, might have an interest in esports, want to get involved in esports? So you know, gaming can kind of open pathways for students out there. I know a lot of teachers out there might be shaking their heads, or you know, your parents you know, might not have agreed with that, you know, 5 or 10 years ago, but you know, nowadays there's a ton of opportunities out there where students can kind of reap the benefits of being involved in esports. You know, in my experience, gaming, you know, has helped our students to, you know, develop skills that have made them better students. In our program, we've developed students that have gone on to have careers within esports. We have a player who's graduated who's actually a professional streamer. We have a player who's graduated who him and two friends run a video editing firm in Atlanta, and they edit videos for all kinds of pro teams, including FaZe. So it's very much an excellent opportunity to get your foot in the door, develop your skills, get exposed to new technologies, and you know, kind of grow your passion. You know, the things that you're passionate about, the things that you're excited about, you can get careers in those things. And programs like ours are set up to be kind of the gateways to those things. So what kind of skills do we look for when we're looking to bring people in, and what kind of skills are we looking to develop for our members of our esports team? Teamwork, leadership, communication, strategic thinking, problem solving, decision making, analytical skills, multitasking. These things translate not only to, you know, roles in esports like being a professional player or coach or analyst or any of those things, but also into career fields like computer science, engineering, math, game development, cybersecurity, you know, you name it. Honestly, marketing, sales, advertising, merchandising, business. The amount of transferable career pathways from esports are honestly one of the best things about it, and one of the, you know, main things that we are focused on going into our next year. To get back to focusing on Winthrop, going into our next year, this fall, we're opening a 6,500 square foot facility. That the main plan with that is to develop, to be able to bring in players, develop talent, but also to bring in streamers, help them develop their brand, bring in people who are interested in shoutcasting and give them opportunities to work in a professional production setting. People who are interested in running streams, producing, things like that, broadcasting on the back end. We have opportunities there as well. Video editing, graphic design, social media manager, all of those type of roles. We've gone from sourcing outside of our program to being able to next year start building educational and internship opportunities where we can give those opportunities to our students so that they can build out their resumes, so that they can you know, pursue what they're passionate about in esports. We do have our main goal for the last couple of years has just been competing at the highest level. We have had a lot of success. Our 2021 League of Legends team won the national championship, the Collegiate League of Legends National Championship. We've won a Rocket League championship. Our Valorant team is currently the 3rd ranked team on VLR and won the East in the fall semester for CVAL. So we've had a lot of competitive success. With that, we're looking to kind of branch into, bringing in people who want to develop themselves as players. We have a plan to kind of develop talent, to bring in people who, want to take their game to the next level. But like I said, if you have any kind of interest in esports whatsoever, Winthrop University has an opportunity that will most likely fit what you're looking for. With that being said, I like to open it up to any questions that you guys might have, and
Yeah, we can,
answer.
anyone who has any questions for Josh, if you could put those in the Q&A and we will go through and answer those now. I know, Josh, I have a couple of questions for you. So
For sure.
what would you recommend that either a high school student or maybe even someone younger in middle school, if they could start then, what would you recommend they start doing now if they're interested in going into esports?
Yeah, I think it's important to if you're interested in esports, find out, what you are passionate about. If it is playing, then, how do you get involved in, playing in the top leagues? How do you get involved in, getting competitive experience? When we look for players, we're looking for people who, have a little bit of a background playing on teams, whether that's with your, middle school team or your high school club team, or if that's with, amateur teams online. It's always good to get involved competitively. That's one of the biggest things for players. But if you are passionate about just like creating content, that is that's kind of the next big thing, in my opinion. We're looking at bringing in content creators, people who want to make gaming related TikToks, or people who want to be streamers, people who want to elevate their status that way. We're looking for video editors, graphic designers, people who are passionate about those things. There's always opportunities to start early and practice that craft and get kind of get noticed by colleges out there.
Great. We have a question come in about asking about, are there any scholarships available for any of your programs that you know about?
Yeah, so our highest level of competitors are varsity teams, which we typically going forward will be pulling those players from from our JV ranks and our club ranks, recruiting from there. But our varsity teams, which is, you know, our top of best of the best, the ones that are kind of competing for the championships and stuff like that, those guys get full rides. So that's tuition covered, that's housing, that's meal plan. You know, these guys are in the top 0.001% of what they do. And, you know, our goal with opening up this new facility is to bring in players who are, you know, hungry to attain that level. Not necessarily going out and finding those players, but finding players that we feel we can develop into those players. You know, bringing in players who are competitive minded and giving them an opportunity to learn and grow and kind of make their way up to that varsity level for us.
What would it look like for a typical student who is in the esports program or on one of your teams? What does kind of that look like in a structured way of going to college and being on the team? Do you guys have practice every day? Is it every week? How does that work?
Yeah, it's fairly demanding, I would say, for the varsity guys. It's very much a year-round sport. It doesn't have any seasonality like basketball or baseball does here. So it's very much, you know, I'd say our guys are putting in at least 4+ hours a day, 5 days a week of just dedicated practice, review, match days, things like that for us. You know, it can be more, it can be less. I think our, you know, our JV teams, obviously they operate a little lighter schedule, you know, more of a focus on making sure they're doing what they need to on the educational side of things. But you know, it is definitely a challenging thing to balance the varsity schedule.
What are some of the typical majors or programs that some of the teammates or players are doing at Winthrop as well as playing on esports? Do you see kind of majors across the board, or is there one usually typically that is kind of the most common?
Yeah, you know, you would think it would be, you know, these computer science specific majors, these majors that are you know, more, that's what, you know, when Winthrop started the program, that's what they expected, you know, 80% of the players to be going into. But really it's more of it's very well mixed. I would say most of our players are actually business majors for the most part.
Cool. All right. Well, we had another question come in the Q&A, and it's asking if you guys offer any esports summer camps for high school students or any opportunities for high school students to get involved.
So in the summer,
Mhm.
we plan to, so our new facility won't be open until August. So not this summer, but going forward, summer 2024 and beyond, we definitely plan to have summer camps and those kind of opportunities for people to get involved. But in the meantime, you know, our facility is going to be open to the public. So, you know, if you are planning to come visit Winthrop or you happen to be in the Rock Hill area, come by, check out our facility, check out, you know, what we're doing up here at Winthrop and you know, get a feel for what it would be like to be a part of the program.
And Josh, where should, you know, students and educators, if they're interested in learning more about the program or following the esports team, where should they be looking and where should they be going?
Yeah, I actually have a slide, but I don't know how to
Sure.
put it up here with
If
our,
you, we can stop sharing our screen and then you
okay,
should be able to pull that up.
okay. And then I'll throw that up there. Yeah, I don't necessarily know
Oh, it's okay. If we can't
how to
get it
get
to
it
work,
up.
we can send that out afterwards for
Sure.
educators and students to be able
Mhm.
to you see that information. But where just should they go,
Yeah,
Josh?
so you know, right now we're working on a new website, so don't really have a good link to send you guys there, but you know, if you do have Twitter, follow us at Winthrop Esports on Twitter. Beyond that, it's, you know, keep an eye on that, and you know, if we're able to, once we get our new website up, we'll send it out to all of you guys so you can get more information about you know, what we're doing on here. We also have an interest form in the meantime um that is on the slide, I guess, that we'll send
Mhm.
out.
Yeah,
And yeah,
perfect. Yeah. And Josh, if you could email that to me while we are continuing today, I will put those links and some other information in the chat as well for everyone to be able to access. Um, Josh, just to wrap things up and have one
Mhm.
last question for today. So thanks so much for telling us all about Winthrop and the esports program. But what would you recommend that students do right now, other than practicing, really to look into what they are doing? Would you recommend that they, follow you guys on Twitter and see what you guys are about? Should they be researching other and focusing on specific games that they're interested in? What should some
Yeah,
students?
so I think, you know, if you are interested in esports as a player, I would say you know, the most important thing is probably to you know, pick the game that you're interested in, focus on, you know, getting competitive in that game, getting some competitive experience, getting some team experience. You know, it's a grind to play at the highest level. But if that's something that you're interested in, um, you know, if you're interested in competing as a player, that's definitely the way to go. For video editors, for graphic designers, for streamers, there's all kinds of opportunities out there. Mostly it's just put yourself out there on social media, continue to work on your craft, and you know, quality gets discovered. So
All right. Well, and we went ahead and threw the Twitter in the chat for everyone. And like I said,
appreciate it.
we'll share the rest as well. Thank you so much, Josh, for joining us today. And we're going to go ahead and take a quick break, and we will be back at 10:30 with USC Cyber. Right, everyone. Thanks so much. We are going to get started in just a second. I did throw that form from Winthrop in the chat for everyone if you're interested in finding out more about their esports program. Next, we have a great session with the University of South Carolina cybersecurity, an intelligence degree, and we have Jody joining from the school. Good morning, Jody. How are you?
Hey, good morning. How are y'all?
Great. Thanks so much.
I hear a few creaking noises in my building, so forgive if you hear something odd, but I think I'm the only
No
one
problem.
in here. So good morning. I'd asked Paige earlier where everyone is coming from, and it sounds like we have a lot of viewers from the lower part of the state, which is actually kind of interesting because we will be hosting a big cyber conference in Myrtle Beach this year. So I'll get to that in a moment. I noticed on the intro, it said Jody job title, and it just said job title, and wasn't sure what to put. And I get asked that a lot because I wear multiple hats. So I'll go through those few hats and then touch on them and talk about the degree. So I'm program manager for the cyber intelligence degree and the global studies degree at the University of South Carolina. The cyber intelligence degree is the degree that I conceived about 3 years ago when I realized that the university didn't offer a degree in cyber. So I'll talk more about that in a moment. I'm also the director for SC Cyber, which is an organization that is directed towards all state agencies. And I put on a yearly symposium and bring in industry leaders to talk to state agencies about good cyber hygiene. I'm also now the founding chair of South Carolina Women in Technology, which I'm super proud of, and I can't wait to get to that part of my talk. So let's go back to the cyber degree. 3 years ago, I realized that we didn't offer anything in cyber. We had a few courses, we had a minor in the works, but we didn't have a degree. And it's an area that absolutely needed to be touched. And let me explain why. In 2023, right now, there are 755,743 open jobs in the cyber arena. In 2025, they expect there to be 3.5 million jobs available globally. We need to be educating students in this area so that they are viable in the job market once they pay all that money to get the degree, right? And we reach out to you as an alum to give back to the university. So I want to make sure that we create a degree that you felt passionate about, and that your parents felt passionate about, and that your teachers and your guidance counselors felt passionate and excited about telling you that here's a degree that is 100% employable. The cyber degree that I created is a little different though. Most people think of cyber, you think of the computer, sitting at a computer, coding, hacking, building, breaking a firewall. That is an extremely important part of cyber, but that is a small part or just a facet of cyber. There are multifacets of cyber. This particular degree focuses on the human side of cyber. And so what does that mean? The people at the heart of cyber, from tech creation to testing to use. And so fundamentally, it's how people interact with technology. It didn't exist. There was not a degree like this. So it's the first of its kind. And I've had people call me from all over the country saying that, thank you, we've been looking for this because I can find someone who can sit at a computer and do those functions at a computer all day long. Those people are available. What we can't find are people who can read, write, and communicate policy and ethics. So that's what this degree is about. It's the human holistic side of cyber. It has 4 components. It has governance and policy, which does exactly what it says, focuses on governance and the whole geopolitical stance. And society and ethics, which focuses on psychology, sociology, ethics, what is ethical hacking, what is good policy in cyber. And then challenges in development. I love that component of the degree because that's where we ask the students, get an internship, do research, get an independent study, and you get out in and you're working with those industry leaders or those government agencies and really getting some hands-on experience. And then there's the cyber tools and digital skills component. So back to the part where I said the computer side, everyone thinks of cybersecurity with that. Well, it's important for you to have an understanding of that. So the cyber tools and digital skills gives you that component. Those courses come from information science, from computer science, from information technology, from geography, specifically GIS. And those are the classes that give you those hands-on tools to better understand, because if you're going to be talking cyber, you need to walk the walk, talk the talk. So we want you to have a little bit. The one cool thing, and I wish I could see some students' eyes when I say this about this degree. First of all, it is a BS degree, Bachelor of Science. It is a STEM degree. That means that you have opportunity to get those extra scholarship funds. And even though it's a BS and it's STEM, it doesn't have or require a lot of math. I imagine there's a sigh of relief from a few people right now when I said that. It does require a bit. We do expect you to have some calculus, the first course of calculus and possibly the second, or go into statistics. But we bring in all of those other components. The other unique thing about this degree is it's not centered and focused in one department or one college. We pull courses from all over the university, from the business school, from the information technology, computer science and engineering, information science iSchool, journalism, from law school. I'm actually working with a law school right now to create a springboard degree that anybody that wants to go into cyber law can get this degree and immediately go into law. Salary. The really cool thing about this is because the job market is in such demand and it's not going to decrease in any way, shape, or form. Salary ranges for this for someone once they graduate with a degree in cybersecurity or cyber intelligence ranges from $80,000 to $165,000. So it's pretty marketable. And back to the degree coming from pulling courses from all over the university, you get to kind of weave what you want to take. So you're not necessarily having to take courses that you don't want to take. You're getting, within all of those buckets, you're getting a large number of courses to choose from, kind of like going to a restaurant and picking from the menu what you want for all of your 5 courses. So that's been very, very intriguing and very exciting for the students that we've had in this degree. We launched it a year and a half ago, and we're already at, I believe, about 112, 115 students in the degree program. We've already had some students that were offered jobs while still in school. One particular student, a junior in college, has already been offered a job. The minute she graduates, she is employed. They're working with her on an internship right now. That happened because of one really interesting and unique class that we put in this degree as an option for students to take. And it's a course that we pull from the iSchool, Information Science School. And it's a course that's called Cybersecurity with Secure Academy. We actually partnered with an industry partner, Checkpoint Technology, Security, Technology and Solutions. I encourage you to look at them. The founder of that company, he is the responsible for the firewall. He invented the firewall. So it's a really interesting company. This company offers a program called Secure Academy. And it's a program where there are modules that you complete. Once you complete the modules, you have the opportunity to stand the exam for certification. We embedded that program, Secure Academy, into this course so that students get a lecture. In the lectures sort of scattered through it, they understand the history of cyber, where it's at, where it's going while they're doing these modules. And then they stand the test and they become certified. They end up finishing the class with 3 credit hours and a certification. That's a resume builder right there. From that class, 4 students got internships and job offers last year. So that, and there were 15 students in the class. So that's pretty good. So that's a bit about the cyber degree. I also encourage you guys to, I don't know if anyone's gone out and looked, and if you have any classes in cyber, but the President Biden just came out with, I'm going to hold this up, the National Cybersecurity Strategy. I'm happy to share this with anyone. There's a really interesting fact sheet about this new strategy. And number 4 says that there will be a push in developing a diverse and robust national cyber workforce. So that again enforces that there will be job opportunities. When I told you about that I was director of SC Cyber, I'm also stand on multiple boards and committees and put on a lot of conferences within South Carolina for cyber. And one of the key aspects of me being a part of that is that I said I would do these conferences as long as I could always have students be a part of these. I've had students attend all of our conferences and interact with the CISO of Homeland Security, with the Director of Talent and Acquisition for the White House, with the Director for Joint Staff J6, with the President and Vice President of Checkpoint and Fortinet and Palo Alto. And these students and these industry leaders and government leaders really fed off of each other. And it was great to just watch the interaction. The other cool thing is that's a resume builder. For every student that's out there right now, if you don't have a LinkedIn, I encourage you to get one. And I asked Paige to put my LinkedIn within the chat so that you can all connect with me, and I would welcome anyone to connect with me. Anything that you're doing, go ahead and build your LinkedIn. That is the current resume. I'll tell you right now, industry leaders don't want a piece of paper with a resume. They're going to go look at your LinkedIn. On your LinkedIn, if you attend a conference, you put that you attended that conference. If you're taking courses that are within the job path that you want to go, list those courses out there. People want to see those things, and I'm happy to help anyone better understand that as well. So allowing students, or including students, in all of the conferences that are out there in cyber that I put on, helps them get out in the world, talking to multiple leaders, getting a better understanding of what all is available in cyber. Another thing is I'm the founding chair for South Carolina Women in Technology, and let me explain that. And this organization does not exclude men. It absolutely includes men as well. Anyone that supports growing women in technology. A few years ago, 35% of the working population in technology was women. Today, it's at 25%. It's dwindled down to 10%, from 35 to 25, yet the job market is growing. How does that happen? Well, we want to make sure that we better understand that, and that we help bring more women into the workforce and into the technology fields. So that's something that I would love to create, maybe a student chapter on. I'd love to get feedback, a high school student chapter on that. I'd love to get feedback from you on if you think that that's something that would be of interest. It's definitely open to our college students. I also wrote a document. It's a 3-page document. I'm happy to share with anyone that wants, but it's the future of cyber-focused jobs. I've actually listed out jobs, descriptions of jobs. I listed out what internship opportunities could be out there, and I'm happy to share that as well. For those of you in high school right now, what can you do to prepare if you're interested in a degree like this? I encourage every one of you, if you have the opportunity to take dual credit, AP credit, or IB credit, do that. We accept all of those credits at the university. AP and IB, they have to be in a certain, you have to be at a certain level depending on which course it is. Dual credit is automatically accepted. You have the opportunity to get that math out of the way if you want to take the math, the history, intro to psychology. You can get a lot of your core components taken care of and immediately get immersed into your degree, which we would do anyway. If you come to the university, we're going to immediately immerse you in courses that put you in the pathway and get you involved and interested in the fields of cyber. We also have a cyber club and other cyber organizations. And I created this year a cyber cafe, which is an opportunity for students to, I'll bring industry leaders on campus and give students the opportunity to have that one-on-one interaction with them as well. I feel like I talk 90 miles a minute, and I don't expect anyone, this is what I tell students when they come to visit me, I don't expect you to remember everything that I said at all. It's a lot. What I do expect you to remember is that my name is Jody, you have my contact information, and you know how to get to me if you want to talk one-on-one. I also have a number of high schools that like to come visit and just bring their students here and learn more on campus. And we're happy to host those visits as well. So I'm going to stop here and see if there are any questions, Paige.
Sure, yes. If anybody has any questions for Jody, please put them in the Q&A now. And I know I had a question, Jody, to ask you for students who might not know if they are interested in cybersecurity or not, or if they might want to go in this career area. What would you recommend they do now to maybe see if it could be something that's right for them?
Yeah, so start reading. Let me explain. I came from an English and art history background. Cyber was not my jam at all. I knew nothing about it. What was important to me, I've been at the university for 31 years. I've advised thousands and thousands of students. What is important to me is when a student comes to me, and I want them to be passionate about their 3, 4, or 5 years that they're here and really feel excited about where they're going to go when they leave. And when I found out cyber was needed, it was baptism by fire for me. I had to learn. So I read, just get on Google and type, what is cybersecurity? What are the different components? Learn that way. And then you'll find some different periodicals that you can connect to, and they'll always send you articles. And I'm happy to share some of that. Go to my LinkedIn. I'm always reposting things that I've seen that are interesting. Follow Ken Bible. He's the CISO of Homeland Security, who, by the way, is from South Carolina, also a University of South Carolina graduate. I'm pretty happy about that. But get out there and go to LinkedIn and type in articles on cyber. Do something. Just read, learn. It doesn't have to be some 50-page article. It's just a couple of paragraphs that will really kind of tell you. I hate to say this, I think, but watch the news. God, I know it's driving us crazy, but cyber, look at what happens. Obviously the elections are coming up. We're going to hear a lot about cybersecurity with elections. Just get immersed and listen to where it's taking you and where the different paths that you hear. And if you hear something about cyber and you know a path that you want to go, message me and say, hey, Jody, I really like this, but I'm kind of interested in cyber. How can I marry the two? Let me explain something. One of my former students, and again, 31 years, one of my former students was a media arts student, video. He was a videographer. He reached out to me many years ago, actually 3 years ago, and was working as the CISO, which is the Security Information Officer, Cyber Information Security Officer. Every organization has one of those. If they don't, they should. For Department of Employment Workforce. He reached out and told me that he was going into industry and he knew that I created a cyber degree and he wanted to figure out how we could marry the two. And I said, Ian, you were in media arts and you're in cyber. This is interesting. He said, everything I learned in media arts, I've been able to apply in cyber. So again, what worries me the most is that people pigeonhole things and they think that there's this one narrow path and it's never that way. That's why I love this interdisciplinary degree, because it shows you how to open multiple doors at one time and then find the door that you want. Okay, I like this door. Now I want to open the next door within this range. So hopefully that helped.
Yeah, definitely. I think that's a lot of great information. And I think it is important to know that cyber is a big industry with a lot of different buckets and areas that you can go into that really fit your interest and what you're looking to do. And I think, something we always hear from companies and from professionals is really, you should try to find something that you really enjoy doing as your work. And then I think the saying is, then you never work a day in your life. So
right, yeah. There's actually a position. I love this position. I think if I weren't at I think I will take on this role for the university. Actually, it's called a cyber evangelist. Does that not sound cool? So I'm going to read, and I've written this in the document. A cyber evangelist is an individual who is passionate about promoting the benefits and importance of cybersecurity within an organization to a wider public. Number of companies have that position. So you're in cyber, but you're not sitting at a computer. There are people that want to be that person that's at the computer. The biggest disconnect in the world right now are those that are the computer person, and then leadership, the CIO, CEO, CFO, president. There's no communication. They don't communicate with each other. We need those people who can bridge that gap. And that's a lot of what I see this degree doing as well.
That's amazing. Well, we are right at time. So thank you so much, Jody, for joining today. I did go ahead and throw your LinkedIn in the chat for everyone. So please go ahead and take note of Jody's LinkedIn and connect with Jody if you have interest in continuing to look into cyber and with the University of South Carolina.
Absolutely. And my email, I think that was on the first slide. So you can get to me by email or LinkedIn, and I'm happy to, I would love to connect. I'll be disappointed if I don't get connections from here. So.
All right. Thank you so much, Jody. We're going to take a quick break, and then we will be back with our next session at 10:55. All right, welcome back from the break, everyone. We are going to get started with our second to last session of the day. Can't believe this is going by so quickly. We have Colonial Life as our next session, and we have Karen joining us. Good morning. Thanks so much for joining us.
Good morning. This has been a great session so far. Let me share my screen and we'll start talking a little bit about Colonial Life.
Perfect. Thanks so much.
All right. There we go. Share. All right. Can you see my screen?
Yes, we can.
Great. Okay. So again, my name is Karen Levitt. I'm a director in global information security at Colonial Life. And for those of you who don't know about Colonial Life, we really help the working world thrive through life's moments. So we work with employers to give their employees benefits for things like long-term, short-term disability, life policies as well. So when people go out on maternity leave, or they have some kind of situation where they're having a moment, we are there to help with that. Again, we help employers and employees when they need it the most. And with all the COVID that happened, you can imagine we helped a lot of people. We paid out 1% of the life insurance claims for COVID. So again, we are there to help people thrive throughout life's moments. And Colonial Life is a leading provider of voluntary work benefits in the United States. So I'm here to tell you a little bit about IT in general, right? I did post my LinkedIn in the chat as well, and I totally agree with Jody. That is a great place to start, right? LinkedIn, you can get a lot of good information about what's going on, what topics are out there, seminars you can go to, groups you can join, and just learning about, the news of what's out there. So I'm going to tell you a little bit about all of the departments in IT at Colonial Life. And you can start anywhere, right? So I started I was a developer manager, and now I'm in cybersecurity. And again, we'll give you some other examples as well, but the more you can learn about any type of technology is going to help you in cybersecurity. So that's what you really should focus on. So our organization is it's not called IT, it's called Digital Transformation, because we're always looking to transform and improve our technology. We have journeys out there, and I'll talk a little bit about those. That's really the applications that help with acquisition of an employer. So administration of the employee's benefits. And again, and anytime we have a new product, right? A new product that we're getting out there, critical illness or cancer, or any of those types of products we have out there. And then again, benefits, right? When those life moments come, we have the benefits and the contact center to help. So these journeys that I'm talking about, it's everything from quoting a benefit plan to an employer all the way through the process to eventually if an employee has to put in a claim. And these are agile development scrum teams. So learning about agile development is any kind of developer tools that you can learn, any kind of language that you can learn, that is helpful, right? So the more you know about the technology, the better you're going to be able to secure it, right? So again, these teams are agile teams, and really it's all about planning things out sprint by sprint every 10 days and then making changes, right? And again, it's not about a long, huge project. It's about delivering things quickly and changing them depending on your customer's needs. So again, it's really important to know these are all the things that we're securing for our company, right? This is really important that we make sure that we have all of these things secured and working well, so our customers can come in. So again, I think this is really what all the applications out there. that we have at Colonial Life. We also have some enterprise initiatives, and one of those is to have a single user interface for all customers, right? So we want to make sure that we have this single user interface and it's secure, as well as has all the regulatory compliance. So things like e-consent and multi-factor authentication. We all know that it is important to have multi-factor authentication on anything that you're using to make sure that somebody can't take over your email or take over your account. And so we have multiple MFA options out there. We use email too. You can get it that way, but we also use Authenticator app. There's Microsoft and Google as well. We also use biometrics. So facial recognition, Windows Hello, learning about all of those types of things is really important to cybersecurity. And texting, getting your multi-factor authentication via text is not useful anymore. That is not secure. So again, we want to move to the most secure functions that we possibly can. We also have roles in digital analytics and artificial intelligence. This leverages analytics to make better decisions and do operational improvements. So some of the things that we are working on with our digital incubator, it leverages process improvements, customer wellness, and technology to drive risk management and operational efficiency. We also have advanced analytics that increase the customer retention with smart artificial intelligence insights, starting with small businesses, right? And that's where Colonial really thrives, is helping small businesses with their voluntary benefits. And again, making sure we understand those employers and those employees and what they need from their Colonial Life and what they need for benefits. We also have international business. And again, it adds a different complexity to cybersecurity. We have United Kingdom. Again, they do the same kind of thing Colonial Life does as well, protection on critical illness, life, and we also do dental coverage as well. And we also have Poland, and they also do group and individual life insurance, as well as we have a technology hub in Ireland where some of our cybersecurity people work, covering the US as well. In our digital transformation organization, we also have shared services. So again, another aspect of this is understanding the digital experience. And when we were talking about multi-factor authentication, for example, we made sure we worked with the digital experience team to make sure that it was easy for our clients to use and secure as well. So there's so many different roles here, and one of them is figuring out what the best digital experience would be. We also have a group for corporate applications like contract management. And in addition, so these are just all things that are for everything out there as well. And so again, these are items that want to make sure that are across the board. As we move on, we have architecture, infrastructure, and security. And so architecture, again, these are more, again, architecting the infrastructure and the applications and the network to make sure that they are secure and reliable and stable as well. That is so important. We also have the infrastructure team. That is the network out there, the help desk, desktops and laptop support, and we have a tech lounge. There's no more people going out to people's desks anymore. Server support and mainframe support. And again, the big thing, we also have security. And security is really important. We have the Security Operations Center. And I have an example of one of the people that was on the help desk in the infrastructure that we just moved over as a security analyst on the Security Operations Center. So again, you don't have to necessarily start with cybersecurity The more you know about technology, the better it's going to be in your cybersecurity roles. So we also, in security, there is also identity access management, as well as there is also customer identity access management. And that's one of the areas that I have as well, is making sure that we have our customers logging in, it's secure, they use multi-factor authentication, and they get into the Colonial Life applications. Global information security is really what we're talking about as for cybersecurity. We have a CISO, you know, that Jody talked about as well in our area over this. And when talking about cybersecurity, the first thing we really think about is attack surface management. So we want to make sure we identify, we assess, we classify, remediate, and mitigate any of the security threats and vulnerabilities that we have out there. So as far as cybersecurity is concerned, we do scans of to see what is vulnerable. We do tests inside of our network, outside of our network, multiple different ways to see if there are any threats, right? And we also make sure that that we patch our infrastructure on a regular basis, so the bad guys can't get in, right? That is one of the things that we know out there, that these bad guys that are trying to get into different companies, they know what the vulnerabilities are because they're published, right, by Microsoft and others. This is a vulnerability. And until everyone's patched, the bad guys, they go out there and scan to see if any of these vulnerabilities are not closed, and that's how they get into certain areas. It is really important to ensure that your systems are up and patched and at a supported level of the operating system and the application, so people cannot get in. And that is so important. And that is all about attack surface management as well. And includes everything. It includes purchase systems that we have, internally developed ones, open source, and even individual users, right? Workstations that people have, and they have something on there that is vulnerable and they're not up to date with their laptop with the latest version out there. That's really important. So, you know, basic things, cybersecurity, understanding that you are patched to the latest level and you can't get hacked, right? So that's a big thing. We also have our Security Operations Center, which does the continuous monitoring and improvement of the organizational security posture while preventing, detecting, analyzing, and responding to any cybersecurity incidents. So those are the ones that we don't want to happen, right? But we do have a Security Operations Center that continually monitors that. And it's everything, not just systems, but it's people, right? So we also train, this is another thing, right? Cybersecurity, we train people how to be vigilant, how to make sure that they're not clicking on things that they shouldn't be clicking on, which allows bad guys in, right? That is a huge part of our cybersecurity program, is making sure that all of our employees understand that they're the first line of defense, and that they need to not click on things that they don't know what it is, because it's probably a bad actor trying to get them to do something and put their password in or their user ID, and then they can use it for themselves. So again, this is all of these things. It's not just about systems, it's about people too, right? And then we also have global risk environment as well, is making sure that we understand the risks, we have processes and procedures updated, and it's constantly monitored as well. So that was a lot. I know this has been a big day, but if you have any questions, I'd be happy to talk through anything. And again, I really think that it is so important just to learn anything you can about technology, and that's going to make you a better cybersecurity expert.
Thank you so much, Karen. If anyone has any questions, please put them in the Q&A now. Karen, I wanted to ask, does your company offer any internship programs for either college students or high school students where they can get involved earlier?
Yes, absolutely. So we just started a new program, which was even for high school students. And again, LinkedIn, you should go to LinkedIn because all of these things get posted on LinkedIn. Follow Unum and Colonial Life. And again, there's a program that, you don't have to have a degree to be a leader, to be someone who can make a difference. We have internships for people who have been leaders in sports. So we advertise, if you are a leader in a sports team, come see us, and we would love to have you come in and learn a little bit about the company as well. And then again, they're not all technology internships, but the more you learn about different aspects of a company, the better you're going to be able to secure it. So we have that for the high school, and then for people who are in college as well, we have scholar interns. And we have those as all around. And again, the Columbia campus that we have for Colonial Life, we have interns there as well. So again, all of these things are available. And like I said, take a chance and learn about something a little bit different. And you can always apply that to wherever your next job is.
That's great. So we have a question coming in, and then I know you have so many opportunities at your company that you just talked about. So this is going to be a very broad answer, I feel like, but they're asking how much money could someone expect to make per year in this industry in cybersecurity? And I know we've heard a couple ranges earlier today in the session. Do you think those kind of apply here as well, based on credentials and different certifications and things like that?
Yes, it's such a huge range, right? There's such a huge range. And, but again, just an example, right? I think the 50,000 was brought up before. And so something like that, I have the example of the help desk agent that was making 40,000, and then they moved over to a security analyst, and then they were making 70,000. So again, it was because they had experience with the company as well, and they knew more about it. So that's just an example. It doesn't happen all the time, but it's an example but the range is clearly, from 30,000 to 200,000 for all of these types of jobs. And again, you move up the ranks, right? You come in as a security analyst 1, and you move to a 2 and a 3, and you could also be a manager. That's another thing as well, or a team lead. And so again, it just depends how far you want to go and how much you want to invest. And there's so many opportunities for people who really want to deliver for Colonial Life in the technology area.
That's great. And it sounds like there's lots of room for growth within the company as well, which is always for students who don't know, that's always a great thing to look for, is someone who is able to advance within the company and stay there. So that sounds great. So it looks like we have a minute left, so we're right on time. Karen, I put your LinkedIn in the chat for everyone to be able to go and connect with you. And I know you said you guys post updates on LinkedIn all the time about different programs. Is there anywhere else that students and educators should go to find out more about Colonial Life, or should we use LinkedIn as the main source?
LinkedIn, of course, you can go to the website as well, right? coloniallife.com. And again, understanding, we do provide benefits to employers, right? It's not really individual. A lot of individual, we do some individual, but most of it is insurance to employers. Again, Colonial Life is in Columbia, South Carolina. And actually, I didn't know that Google had a data center in South Carolina, and Colonial Life's data center for all of the world is in Columbia, South Carolina as well. So yeah, so again, I think anything you find, Google, right? I mean, anything you want to learn out there, the more you learn about the different companies and different technologies, the more opportunity you're going to have.
All right. Well, thank you so much for joining today, Karen. And we are going to take a quick break, and we will be back at 11:20 with our last session of the day, which is Create Opportunity. So hang in there, everyone. We've got one session left. Thanks so much again, Karen, for joining.
Thank you. Have a great day.
Hey, everybody. Hey, Paige.
Hi, welcome, Sam. Thanks so much for joining us today.
Absolutely. Happy to be here.
All right, everyone, we are going to finish with our last session of the day. We have Create Opportunity joining us today, and we have Sam Hodge, who is the program manager. I'm going to let you take it away, Sam.
Great. And can I share my screen on here?
You can.
Awesome. Give me 1 second. I'll pull up our slide deck.
And remember, if you have any questions during the presentation for Sam, please put them in the Q&A and we will answer them at the end.
Yeah, and I'll try to be quick just so I know we'll have a lot of questions. 1 second. All right, so I'll go ahead and get started. The Create Opportunity program started in Columbia, South Carolina, around 2 years ago now, on the belief that extraordinary tech talent can come from unexpected places. And so we really started the program to identify individuals in the local market to work with local employer partners of ours in software engineering. So how the program works is through a screening, training, and apprenticeship model. And I'll break that down on this slide. So the first step for interested participants in becoming software developers or software engineers through us is taking an online screening. It's a 90-minute test. It's unbiased. It's based on 20 years of data. In large part, it encompasses math, reading comprehension, and personality type questions. Again, it is a 90-minute assessment. So if you are interested in joining, I would plan ahead, just that it does take 90 minutes. The most important piece to remember about the screening is that it screens for aptitude, non-existing knowledge, or previous experience. And so what I mean by that is that the screening is not looking for folks who have previous experience in software engineering related careers. It's open to anyone. And so I encourage you all, if you do have interest, to take it. After completion of the screening, we'll notify participants of results of that screening within 1 to 2 business days. And it is a pass or fail screening. Those that don't pass the first time are more than welcome to retake the screening, because we have had folks that have been successful after that. After the screening is complete and the onboarding has been completed by you, you are enrolled at Midlands Technical College in Columbia at the Northeast campus on a full scholarship. So we actively fundraise for the training for each participant through both public grants and as well as private donations from companies in the area. So every single student who comes through is delivered the training at no cost. The training is full-time, so we ask participants that they be available from 9 to 4 Monday through Friday for the training. And it is a 6-month training, so it's an intensive full-time workplace-like experience. So you would graduate as a junior full-stack developer, so you'd receive a certificate of completion from Midlands Technical College as a junior full-stack developer. And after completion of the training, within 2 to 4 weeks, you would be placed with one of our employer partners in Columbia for a 2-year salaried apprenticeship. And so what that looks like is you would be salaried at a minimum of $48,000 a year. And so that's across the board. That's our minimum threshold for employer partners who are joining us that they have to bring in graduates at. They also have to provide their standard health and retirement benefit packages to those apprentices as well. Our last requirement for employers is that they provide each apprentice with a mentor. And so that individual is typically going to be a mid to senior level software engineer at the company that they're assigned, and will work on a day-to-day basis with that person. They'll typically devote between 5 to 10% of their time per week working with the apprentice. And obviously, as the apprentice onboards into the company, becomes more familiar with the culture and their responsibilities, that will gradually go away. Or if you need more mentoring, obviously it will scale up. After completion, or really just some of the outcomes we expect from this, and what we're starting to see in Columbia now that we've had apprentices in the workplace for close to a year and a half now, is the creation of a steady, qualified local pipeline of software engineering talent to support industry here. So here on screen, you can see our training curriculum that we use at Midlands Tech. Again, it is a full stack development course, so it covers both front end and back end work. If you could see my cursor on screen, at the end of each module, there's a project. And so in order for participants to advance to the next module and remain in the course, they must meet 70% of the requirements for each project. That's all the way up until the final projects where students will complete a full stack development, or a full stack application, excuse me, over the course of 2 weeks. And then obviously, as I mentioned on the previous slide, within 2 to 4 weeks of that, those folks are jumping into apprenticeships. So again, I know I've said a couple of these already, but some of the benefits to Columbia and what we wanted to create with this program is a sustainable pipeline of talent, as well as providing a direct pathway to roles in these careers for local residents who otherwise might not have access. Lastly, who is the program for? So you must be at least 18 years of age, must have a high school education or equivalent. And lastly, one of the more important pieces of the program is just the full-time commitment. It is those that want to join the program need to be fully invested in doing the work. It is an intensive program, but obviously the outcomes that we're seeing from this is that we're putting folks on a pathway where they can continue to work in this field locally in Columbia in a healthy way with healthy employers. So the last slide, some of our employer partners for this, Nephron Pharmaceutical has graduates currently, Diesel Laptops has graduates, Colonial Life, Cyberwoven, and Yovant all do as well. We do have some new employers joining us for our current class who finishes up at the end of May. And we're excited to announce some of those in the near future. And I will close there for any questions that we might have.
Perfect. Thanks so much, Sam. If you have any questions, please put them in the Q&A now. One question, Sam, that we've been asking is, what can students do now in high school or even a little bit earlier to maybe plan or prepare for a career or a program like this?
Yeah, absolutely. And so a number of high schools offer software engineering courses at the entry level. Some of those include HTML, CSS, which are programs that we teach in the first module of the course. Mm-hmm. So I would encourage folks to look into those, and if they have time in their schedules and they can commit to it, then 100% I recommend going after those. Another thing that I'll mention is Free Code Academy Online is a free resource that we actively encourage participants in the current class to use. Specifically if they're struggling in certain areas of the program. Additionally, we recommend that to folks that are on the current wait list that are entering the program in June is our next class. We'll recommend that they take HTML and CSS courses or even get into JavaScript and some of the stuff we hit later using that resource. So those are the first two that come to mind.
Great. Let's see. So we have a question. So if a student does not meet 70% in a module, is he or she dropped from the program, or do they receive an opportunity to grasp the context in a specific time frame?
Yeah, so for the first time that they don't meet requirements, they are put on a probation, but essentially there's an instructor and a TA for the course. The TA's responsibility then is to work with that individual directly to train them up on what they've missed. The hardest thing with how quickly paced the course is that those that are falling behind, it's hard to catch back up because new material is being presented. But to answer your question, yes, they do have a probationary period where they would meet with the teaching assistant.
Okay, great. So they do get some extra help and support if needed along the way.
Correct. And then obviously partnering with Midlands Tech is one of the best things about this because of the number of resources that they have access to. So all the students are full-time students of Midlands Technical College. So the student services group has a number of other resources that they can also assist with as well.
Great. For some high school students who might be listening in and are not as familiar with what kind of an apprenticeship program is and what the great things about it are, can you share a little bit about how that part of your program works?
Yeah, absolutely. So the apprenticeship portion, the biggest piece to me is the mentor. And so what we've done with this program is we've developed really deep and meaningful relationships with our employer partners. And so when we're placing folks with an employer, we're also thinking with that team's manager, which team they're going to be assigned to, which mentor is going to be a perfect fit for this individual that we've gotten to know for the better half of 6 to 8 months. So the mentor is the biggest piece. Because that individual is familiar with the company, they're familiar with the work, and hopefully down the line, it will be a great opportunity graduate who is also, deeply familiar with the training that individual just went through. But the mentorship aspect, to answer your question, is the best piece about the apprenticeship.
Yeah, that sounds great. It really is nice, I know, for students to be kind of shown and explained and helped through those first couple of years at a new job, really to get a great start off the bat. So that sounds amazing.
Yeah, and each of our employers has taken a different approach to onboarding. And so, we've done a better job with the last group of preparing students for the workplace, because it's, they're not going to just simply throw you into a project and say, have at it. And we don't want that to happen. So some of our folks, Diesel Laptops, for instance, they start people in QA so that people are familiar with their tech stack and what's coming through. Others like Nephron put them through a 3-week onboarding where they're learning about the pharmaceutical industry. Because, in order to be successful in the job, you also have to understand the business. And so I think all the groups that we work with do a great job of onboarding people and making sure they're aware of what they're a part of.
Mm-hmm. That's great. For someone who might not be as familiar, what could a high school student expect a daily, job as a software developer to look like, or what that kind of job, how it looks like day to day, maybe week to week, or kind of what projects or things they might look on if they go into that career and through the program?
Yeah, absolutely. So if someone is interested in software development, they're a problem solver, and that's the biggest piece. So day to day, it really will vary between industries of what you're assigned to. For instance, a lot of our folks that are at Colonial Life, it's maintaining their legacy systems that they use. And so it really is difficult to answer just because it will vary so much.
Yeah, no. I think that, that could be something that is really interesting as well. It's, that type of student might like to do something different every day, like to solve problems, have that diversity in their job as well. Is that something that you think that being in that program or that career really needs, is that kind of flexibility and ability to adapt to the job itself?
Yes, absolutely. I think if you asked any software developer, they are lifelong learners. So the learning doesn't stop just at the end of this training. We're preparing you with the foundational language of software engineering. From there, your companies that you're assigned to are going to use a lot of different stuff. But the greatest thing is that all of them have resources there so that you can learn those things. But being a lifelong learner and flexible and a problem solver are probably the 3 biggest characteristics of a software developer.
Great. So we have another question that came in. So how can one apply for this opportunity, and where what kind of contact information do you have, or where should they go to learn more about applying?
Yeah, absolutely. So our website is createop.com. And I'm happy, I can send that to you right after this, if you'd like to send it out. But if you recall the slide I brought up, the first step to joining is completing a screening. And that can be found on the website. So you actually register there, you take the screening there. And so createop.com is the resource. Outside of that, we also host informational sessions every Monday and Thursday of each week, and that can be signed up. You can sign up for that on Eventbrite, and you can meet with us, chat with us. We can answer any additional questions that you might have. But I'm also happy to share my email address in here if I can put it in the chat.
Sure. Yeah. And I went ahead and dropped the link for the website in the chat as well. So anyone interested in finding out more and learning about the program, go to that website link, and you can find out more there as well. And yeah, Sam, if you don't mind, I can drop your email in the chat for anyone to reach out as well.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Perfect. Well, we have a couple more minutes, just 3 more minutes. So wrapping up the session today, is there, one thing that you want high school students to kind of take away from the program or going into software engineering? One last piece of advice that you have for them today?
Yeah, I would just say that software engineering is one of the fastest growing fields in the country. We continue to have, well, really the world, we continue to have a deficit in the number of software engineers, and these jobs are not being filled and they're not going away. Every single company nowadays is a technology company, whether they like it or not. We met Charlotte with Lowe's Industries. You think of Lowe's as where you go to get a piece of plywood or nails, but they brand themselves as a technology company. And they're right. I mean, everyone has to adapt to being digital and online. And in order to do that, you need to have software engineers.
Yeah. Yeah, I think we heard a lot about that today from some of our different presenters, that, there is so many industries and different areas that you can go into as well once you are in the field. So it seems like a great place for, career growth and career security as well.
Absolutely. Understanding the basics of software engineering you can pivot multiple different directions within companies if you have that strong foundation.
Perfect. All right. Well, we'll wrap up just a couple minutes early. Thank you so much, Sam, for joining. And again, everyone, Sam's email as well as the link are in the chat for you guys to use as some next steps to connect with Create Opportunity.
Great. Thanks so much, Paige. Thank you, everybody.
All right, everyone. Thank you so much for joining today. It has truly been a pleasure. From our attending students in the classrooms and educators to the employers who took the time out of their busy schedule to share the importance of the industry here in South Carolina. I'd like to take this opportunity to thank everyone who's made this event possible. Again, would like to thank the session hosts and participants for sharing their experience. A special thanks to South Carolina Future Makers who helped put this event on. We will be sending a recording of this event and resources from the sessions out over the next week to educators who have signed up. So keep a lookout for that email from the team Tallow. On behalf of SC Future Makers Initiative and Tallow, we thank you again for joining SC Days Information Technology and Cybersecurity. Thanks so much for joining, and enjoy the rest of your day.